So welcome back to Public Interface. I'm Mark Servais standing in. We're going to talk about kind of our post-symposium wrap-up. I have Chris Sulham, Dan Solovay, and Chris Brady. Hey. So the last time we got together as MVPs, and we kind of went over like kind of a day one, morning of day two. Now that symposium's kind of done and past us, we've gotten through day two. We're kind of back in normal surroundings and environment. So what are the new takeaways? Does everything still stand that we talked about a little bit more? You definitely have a different perspective of the conference. So, you know, what are we looking at now that we've actually finally got this done? What are we looking at as some of the highlights that we've completed here?
E-commerce was a big topic of conversation this year, not only in the panels and amongst the Sitecore folks, but just also amongst the partner pavilion. Mm-hmm. You saw a lot of stuff about online marketing, e-commerce. There were case studies about it. It's one of those things that Sitecore is making a big play for to try to move beyond just being a CMS.
Yeah, e-commerce certainly stood out, and the whole approach of engineering it on top of .NET Core and the modular approach they're taking to it, there seems to be a real emphasis on doing things the right way and doing things in a very future-facing way. The other thing that really stood out for me was the way that they're really trying to meet developers on their own ground. I was really struck by the fact that all the DLLs are now out on NuGet. That's a very developer-friendly thing, and certainly that must have taken quite a bit to get past their legal department. So that was really good to see, and just the way they've embraced community forums, such as the Sitecore community Slack or the new Stack Overflow. It was a really strong message of trying to meet developers where they were, the way they like to work, and getting behind that.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because I mean, you almost have to go in that direction. You look at what even Microsoft is doing now. They're open sourcing .NET, right? They're allowing .NET applications to run on non-Windows platforms. If you don't do things like that, you're not going to get the enthusiasm of the young people coming out of school who have been sort of brought up on open source technologies. That's how they learned, and that's the community they're used to. So to go into sort of a corporate stack is maybe unappealing to them. So the more open and freer you appear to be, the more likely you are to get this young talent interested in you building things with your product.
The developer track was really strong when we were there, but there was so much more else going on in the business track and some of the other tracks. So, and I know you got to talk to quite a few people outside of the session. So what kind of was the buzz?
Yeah, there's a lot of enthusiasm about Sitecore 8.2. A lot of the clients and prospective users of Sitecore that we chatted with, we're really feeling like Sitecore is responding to their goal of kind of meeting business challenges with the technology. So I know that Sitecore has a lot of interesting conversations about development, but really if you think back about why people have a CMS in the first place, it's about getting their message out. It's about reaching the audience with a good message that's relevant for them and timely. And I think what Sitecore has been doing to stabilize the 8.0 personalization and the Sitecore experience system has really been well received by the community. New features like SXA have a lot of people buzzing, so there's a lot of enthusiasm for kind of giving that power to the end user and to the day-to-day users of Sitecore. Because I think what can happen sometimes is they have an idea and the time it takes for them to get that to market is shorter than it's ever been. So I think there's a lot of excitement there, being able to get those things out.
Yeah, they definitely want to lower the barrier of entry to getting into the Sitecore universe. Because once you're in and you have something out there on the platform already, it's less expensive to keep building upon that than to start something new with a different system.
Yeah, I think there was a really strong kind of undercurrent of excitement around the new stuff around Azure. So again, it's all about the idea that do you want to be in the business of maintaining servers and babysitting them, or do you want to just have a system that's elastic and can scale and meet these needs? Because really when you're most excited about your website is when it's spiking on Reddit, or when people are really kind of coming there enthusiastically looking for something that's top of the moment. And if your website is kind of needs to be, you have to tune it in advance of those things, then you're always reacting. And so I think things like Azure and the ability to go into that platform as a service model that they're working on is going to be a really appealing thing for a lot of our clients and people in the platform today.
Yeah, and it comes back to that cost of ownership, that experience of ownership, if you will, using that experience word. Now, there's a lot of cool things too. You had mentioned cost of entry, right? But yeah, it's even the growth throughout that environment. So, like the migration tool, the upgrade migration tool. Now I know we've done some stuff with that already.
Yeah, we actually we unboxed that thing as soon as we got back and tried to see what it was capable of. We had to dig around our our available solutions to find one that was on 7.2, because that's the only release it supports right now. But it pretty much does what it's advertised to do. You point it at your 7.2 instance, and it creates for you an instance on 8.2, and it migrates all of your content, and it identifies all of the differences, and separates them out into the necessary patch files.
I think clients will really appreciate that, because the entry cost, as you mentioned, is can be prohibitive for some folks, but paying a high dollar amount for an upgrade feels kind of counterintuitive, right? You want to be building new features, you want to be building new capabilities into the platform, offering new services to your visitors and your members maybe. So having something that can kind of reallocate that money to doing kind of the cool stuff that makes your boss happy will be very much welcome.
Excellent. So it's wrapped up. The book's closed on this chapter of Symposium. Next chapter is coming. What is the one thing that we need to take away between now and next October?
For me, I think it's going to be cloud. I think that's the one that is the closest, the platform as a service offering. They say that's going to be available to start looking at in November. That's right around the corner. And I do strongly feel that cloud-based services is the future of this field. It's exactly like Chris said, nobody wants to be in the business of managing IT infrastructure. You just want to be managing your product and not have to worry about that. And that's exactly what the cloud is set up and designed to do.
For me, it's strength of community. I mean, I was struck at how much I learned, not just from the Sitecore professionals who were speaking, but also, my colleagues and around the Sitecore community. People really came with a passion, whether it be for what you can do with personalization or what you can do with XDB data, and I just learned a tremendous amount just taking in what other people are doing, and really appreciate a chance to be able to share my passions with them. So that's, I think, a real kind of the hidden strength of Sitecore is of what a passionate, dedicated community it has.
Yeah, you had a really good turnout at your talk as well as much of the other ones. So,
yeah, to me, it's all about getting to know each other, and the community is very supportive. And although it's an enterprise and it's kind of a closed system, I think there was a really good exchange of just ideas, like to hear from the business side in particular how folks are trying to do more with the platform. So people now they kind of have their content stable and up and running. They may be wanting to add new languages. They may be wanting to integrate new business systems. And having that Sitecore core is really effective. And as they start to, like with 8.2, they've improved the email campaign manager and stabilized that. I think folks are looking at ways to kind of consolidate the many systems they have and take advantage of some of the features of Sitecore more directly, while at the same time, filling in the niche needs that they might have with specialized systems.
guys, thanks a lot. Always enjoy these. I got to moderate this time, which was great. So again, thank you. And that is a wrap on this session of Public Interface, our post-symposium wrap-up. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, get a hold of us at Velir on Twitter. Thanks.